Blood Demon Elysi has been slain? Emperor Qing felt a tumultuous surge within his heart. These innate primordial life forms, although their moves are crude, each possessed enormously tenacious life force. To defeat is easy, to kill is hard. According to the experience in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, enlightened cultivators of the same level, when facing low-level primordial life one-on-one, generally hold a slight advantage. But to kill them is extremely difficult. Hence the need for several team members to hunt together. Luo Feng with his own strength has killed a late-stage Divine Emperor low-level primordial life. Such power is considered extremely strong even among the elders, thought Emperor Qing. Even Elder Tian he is not to be feared. Even if Elder Tian he has accumulated profound strength, as long as he hasn't reached the half-primordial level, he couldn't possibly slay Luo Feng with such might. Even if Elder Tian he has a slight upper hand, LuoFeng's name will still spread throughout Yulan City. Good, let's continue hunting. Emperor Qing calmed his emotions and drove the black flying boat forward. Brother Luo Feng, this should be the last time we hunt together as a team, Emperor Qing sighed. I thought I could be of some help, but who would have thought I wouldn't be able to lift a finger, even becoming a burden to you. The threat posed by late-stage Divine Emperor low-level primordial life is too great. Just like the previous Elysi poison, if even a bit touched Emperor Qing, this very avatar of him would be annihilated. Brother Emperor Qing was able to reach the middle stage of Divine Emperor within a single reincarnation era in the land of origin, Luo Feng smiled. Such talent, surpassing even that of the two countries' ancestors. In the future, let alone at the elder level, there's even hope for half-primordial. Emperor Qing chuckled upon hearing that. He indeed had this confidence. But Emperor Qing also understood. He would need to endure through long years, with immense hardship, born into death, struggling immensely to touch upon the half-primordial. That was probably the limit for his lifetime. But for Luo Feng with such a growth rate, the half-primordial level seems within easy reach with utterly no obstruction. Perhaps it's only by breaking out of the braided cage that Brother Luo Feng will spend long years. With his talent, it's possible he could leap out of the braided cage, Emperor Qing thought. He also knew that leaping out of the braided cage was very difficult. In the dark sacred realm, late-stage Divine Emperor enlightened ones are the minimum threshold, and half-primordial level beings are everywhere. This place gathers countless powerful beings from numerous worlds, yet leaping out of the braided cage remains a legend. Difficult. I wonder if LuoFeng's potential could leap out of the braided cage and become primordial life, thought Emperor Qing. As the two conversed, they remained vigilant. LuoFeng's biomimetic eye of destruction in his brow constantly observed his surroundings, and the Xuanqing sky annihilation array map within him was always operating, forming a vast domain that protected everything around him. Previously, when ambushed by Blood Demon Elysi, it was precisely the array formation domain that allowed Luo Feng to save Emperor Qing in time. LuoFeng's biomimetic eye of destruction peered into the distance ahead to the left. There was a cluster of clouds concealing the area, but Luo Feng could still manage a glimpse through them, spotting creatures covered in blue-white scale armor with 8 hooves each, and every one of them had a single horn radiating coldness, naturally forming clouds. 15 Frost Soul Watchers. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed with excitement. In the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, lower-level primordial life consists of many different races. In terms of numbers, the Frost Soul Watchers come first. Their numbers are terrifyingly large. Even the hunters of Yulan City have seen thousands of Frost Soul Watchers acting in unison, with 3 of them at the level of Divine Emperor perfection among such a formidable force. Against such a large team, no cultivator in Yulan City dares to obstruct them. They mostly act in groups outside. A lone Frost Soul Watcher is a rare occurrence. A solitary Frost Soul Watcher is generally one that has failed the competition for leadership and been exiled. To vie for leadership, one must certainly be at the level of Divine Emperor perfection. Therefore, encountering a Frost Soul Watcher acting alone is even more frightening and dangerous. 15 Frost Soul Watchers? Emperor Qing said in surprise on the side. It looks like a small squad. Judging by their stature, breadth, and scale armor patterns, they should all be at the middle stage of Divine Emperor, Luo Feng determined. Although Frost Soul Watchers are numerous among the lower-level primordial lives, all other aspects about them are quite ordinary. Concealment, escape, attack, self-defense. They know a little of everything, but every aspect is quite ordinary. These 15 Frost Soul Watchers, let's try to take them out in one fell swoop, Luo Feng said. Emperor Qing, you help too. Emperor Qing nodded. I will try to block them. The cloud cluster's flying speed wasn't fast, and the 15 Frost Soul Watchers stood there, watching all around. Though their observation capabilities were far inferior to Luo Feng's secret technique, biomimetic destruction eye, they still knew a bit about the art of observation. They were very patient, vigilantly watching in all directions. Once they spotted prey, they would set off collectively. Lower-level primordial lives love hunting, cultivators. But Frost Soul Watchers are a very ferocious race, and these large numbers occasionally devour other lower-level primordial lives as well. Whoosh! The endless blood sea suddenly appeared, with the boundless blood color spreading throughout heaven and earth. The blood sea enveloped the cloud cluster and the 15 Frost Soul Watchers within it. There are cultivators. All 15 Frost Soul Watchers turned to look at the 2 figures in the center of the endless blood sea, Luo Feng and Emperor Qing's figures. Kill. The blood sea was devouring and twisting the cloud cluster. but the cloud cluster completely resisted the erosion of the Blood Sea. Meanwhile, Emperor Qing was also setting up a sword array from a distance. The cultivator controlling the Blood Sea should be a late-stage Divine Emperor Enlightened one. The one next to him is much weaker, they assessed. Together we can break the Blood Sea and tear both of them to pieces, they plotted. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers were not the least bit afraid. If 3 or 5 elders made a move they would not hesitate to flee. But merely one elder? They are best at collective combat. Teams of 15 dare to fight a late-stage Divine Emperor Enlightened one. Boom. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers moved in unison, spreading icy chills all around. The cold air transformed the cloud cluster into a single entity, protecting the 15 of them and completely blocking LuoFeng's Blood Sea invasion. Cultivators die. The massive clouds transformed into huge, terrifying claws, grasping towards Luo Feng. Despite strenuous resistance, Luo Feng was torn apart by the colossal claws and merged into the endless Blood Sea as waves of blood. He excels at transforming into a Blood Sea, but his physical combat is rather mediocre. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers instantly exchanged thoughts, destroy its Blood Sea. Instantly, their combined colossal cloud began to frenziedly absorb the blood waves. Rip. The endless Blood Sea suddenly erupted in rage. Xuanqing sky, a thin line between heaven and earth. A light, infused with the aura of life and death instantly pierced through their massive cloud, as well as the body of one of the Frost Soul Watchers. In the moment of penetration the life core within was shattered. Carrying the blood waves the light swept past the Frost Soul Watcher's body, which disappeared into thin air. The remaining 14 Frost Soul Watchers were shocked. His endless Blood Sea is adept at formations, and its power is quite formidable. Continue absorbing the Blood Sea, the smaller it gets, the weaker his formations will be. The massive cloud ferociously absorbed, temporarily suppressing the energy from the Blood Sea that was engulfed. These naturally born primordial lives all have quite bizarre talents. Luo Feng was intentionally showing weakness at this moment, fearing that these prey would be solely focused on escaping. If the opponents all escaped with their full strength, he would have limited capability to intercept them. First, allow these Frost Soul Watchers to see the possibility of victory. The endless Blood Sea released by Luo Feng was merely 1% of the real Blood Sea's energy reserve, but among cultivators, it was considered a normal physical body, so the Frost Soul Watchers didn't suspect anything. Hiss. The light of life and death pierced through the massive cloud once again, taking another Frost Soul Watcher with it. We have already absorbed 30% of the Blood Sea, he won't last much longer. At this moment, the Frost Soul Watchers were unwilling to give up, crazily absorbing the Blood Sea, its expanse visibly shrinking at the speed visible to the naked eye. Hiss. 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 Afterward, the light of life and death struck 3 more times, resulting in 3 more Frost Soul Watchers falling dead. By now, the endless Blood Sea had significantly reduced in size. Hiss. The 6th light of life and death couldn't even penetrate the cloud anymore. His Blood Sea is only left with 30%, formation power greatly weakened, he's no longer a threat to us. The remaining 10 Frost Soul Watchers grew even more frenzied, with the death of 5 comrades only intensifying their murderous intent. You low-level primordial beings do have some tricks. However, you are no match for me. Suddenly, a bloody shadow tried to escape. Escape. All 10 Frost Soul Watchers turned towards that one blood shadow simultaneously. An invisible fluctuation enveloped the blood shadow. Talent, Soul Freeze. The Soul Freeze formed by the 10 Frost Soul Watchers simultaneously wasn't particularly strong. Even without the Lai Yuan technique, Luo Feng could withstand it easily, at most affecting his escape skill. Moreover, he had the protection of the Lai Yuan technique in the Undying Heart. The Undying Heart provides protection to the soul as well. This Soul Freeze had no real effect on Luo Feng. The escaping blood shadow seemed momentarily disrupted, the escape skill broken, revealing his physical form. Cultivator, you cannot escape. The 10 Frost Soul Watchers were all very excited, as the massive cloud suddenly became incomparably huge, aiming to completely devour all the blood waves, including the silhouette of Luo Feng. Is that so? Luo Feng appeared to be in a frenzy. Boom. He transformed into a fleeting shadow, forcefully piercing through the blood waves. A blurry claw swept past one of the Frost Soul Watchers, cracking open another Frost Soul Watcher's life core and taking away a corpse. What? The remaining 9 Frost Soul Watchers felt disconcerted. The already greatly weakened cultivator had taken away another one. About time. Luo Feng was not willing to delay any longer. First, the number of Frost Soul Watchers had dropped from 15 to 9, which meant the threat level was less than half of what it was before. Second, within the elder hunting area, battle engagements must be swift, as dragging it out could lead to accidents. Rumble. The endless Blood Sea unfolded, and a towering figure appeared. The towering figure had an undying heart within its body. Led by the Undying Heart, countless vessels extended throughout its entire body and also spread throughout the entire endless Blood Sea. The Undying Blood Sea Body utilizing the Undying Heart, its might instantly surged several times over. Swoosh. As the Undying Blood Sea Body fully erupted, LuoFeng's right hand also transformed into a huge, fuzzy claw. With the immortal body driving this claw instantly tore through the massive cloud as well as ripping apart the ranks of the Frost Soul Watchers, killing 2 Frost Soul Watchers on the spot. he's been hiding his strength. He's not just any ordinary elder. Escape. The remaining 7 Frost Soul Watchers realized they had been tricked. In an instant, they transformed into 7 rays of light as swift as the light of the spirit. The resistance brought by the blood waves was minimal, and the 7 rays of light rapidly attempted to flee. However, in terms of escape skills, even though they were capable, they were far inferior to the likes of Blood Demon Elysi. LuoFeng clearly saw the 7 rays of light. Swoosh. The blood waves churned and the world seemed to turn upside down. Suppress. The entire blood sea space pressed down. In an instant, it trapped 5 of the rays of light, confining them within the blood sea eye. As for the other 2 escaping rays of light, one encountered LuoFeng's fuzzy claw, which deployed the palm world to envelop it, while the other light ray was obstructed by Emperor Qing's sword array. Soon these Frost Soul Watchers were all captured and killed one by one. I actually managed to capture them all. LuoFeng was quite excited. A single Frost Soul Watcher was manageable, but when 15 combined into a team, the difficulty skyrocketed. By feigning weakness, he was able to trap the opposition completely. 15 Frost Soul Watchers, that's almost worth 200 million primordial crystals. Emperor Qing was also quite buoyed. He had finally contributed significantly. Let's leave this place first. LuoFeng was also very lucid, not daring to linger too long in the battlefield. The 2 of them immediately maneuvered the black flying boat and swiftly flew away. Just a few dozen breaths later, 9 even more terrifying Frost Soul Watchers arrived at the scene. Their gazes penetrated the void, their cold aura affecting the vast surrounding area as they meticulously searched for any traces of the battle. Inside the black flying boat, we've killed 15 middle stage Divine Emperor Frost Soul Watchers. None of them escaped, Emperor Qing said excitedly. By value, this team of Frost Soul Watchers is slightly more valuable than the previous Blood Demon Elysi. LuoFeng nodded. A late-stage Divine Emperor Blood Demon Elysi has an extremely high poison value, so its corpse can sell for around 150 million primordial crystals, considering its merit points worth about 10 million merit points. So the total price is about 160 million primordial crystals. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers, including merit, should be able to sell for around 190 million primordial crystals. We can almost return now, said LuoFeng. My original plan was to return after hunting 2 late-stage Divine Emperor prey. Now we're about there. We should be more cautious, Emperor Qing agreed. The Elder Hunting area is the homeland of the Low Level Primordial Life activity range. There are too many powerful beings. They encountered prey twice. Once was a late-stage Divine Emperor Blood Demon Elysi, and the other time was a team of Frost Soul Watchers. This indicates that in the homeland region, the number of low-level primordial life and their strength are vast. Huff. After deciding, Emperor Qing immediately drove the black flying boat, carefully starting the return journey towards Yulan City. LuoFeng observed the surrounding area. My strength is still a little too dangerous in the Elder Hunting area, thought LuoFeng to himself. The elders occasionally dare to come, partly because they are avatars, and also do not bring Undying Heart, Palm World, and such extremely precious treasures. So even if an avatar perishes, it wouldn't be a big loss. LuoFeng, carrying 2 treasures, was naturally more careful. When my strength advances further, it will be suitable to frequently come to hunt in the homeland, contemplated LuoFeng. If his life and death Dao advances further, reaching the middle stage of Divine Emperor. As the Dao of Fusion, the middle stage life and death Dao of Divine Emperor should be comparable to the perfect level of a common Dao. At that time, his strength should be considered at the level of a Hall Master. As long as he didn't venture into the inner parts of the 9 rivers, his safety would be relatively high. However, it has been 900 epochs since I arrived in Yulan City, and my life and death Dao has only just reached the early stage of Divine Emperor. To reach the middle stage of Divine Emperor, I will face even greater obstacles, and it's expected to take a considerable amount of time, LuoFeng pondered. His current cultivation was going smoothly without encountering any bottlenecks. Some cultivators were stuck at bottlenecks, unable to make any further progress. That was real suffering. I should do as Senior Yuan and the others said, it's best not to look at other cultivators' inheritances and rely solely on my own exploration, making each step solid enough, LuoFeng thought, having not purchased any half-primordial inheritance thus far. Like a blank slate, looking at other cultivators' inheritances would only contaminate my path. Reliance on self-exploration. My every gain stems from a clear understanding of the essence, making it solid. LuoFeng is really too strong. As LuoFeng pondered his cultivation, Emperor Qing, who was next to him, was still shocked by the gains from this venture. To have such a harvest just from visiting the Elder Hunting area, he must be considered one of the stronger elders by now. At this rate, won't it be a short time until he reaches the level of the 3 Hall Masters? Emperor Qing thought, perhaps the entire structure of Yulan City will change because of Brother LuoFeng. No. With Brother LuoFeng's talent, he might not even regard Yulan City highly. Emperor Qing's emotions were complex. In his eyes, the 3 high and mighty Hall Masters of Yulan City may not hold much importance to Brother LuoFeng. Each lost in their own thoughts, the black flying boat sped through the sky at an incredibly high speed. Suddenly, in the distance, a terrifying bolt of lightning appeared, looking towards them from afar. LuoFeng and Emperor Qing both were startled and dared not be distracted by other thoughts. It is. Emperor Qing couldn't believe what he was seeing, a fearsome bolt of lightning in the distance. The sheer terror of its presence, even from a great distance, gave Emperor Qing a chill. It was an aura far surpassing that of Blood Demon Elysi. Luo Feng also stared into the distance. Instinctively, a strong sense of threat warned Luo Feng, making his soul tremble. Primordial Wild Hoof Clan, an existence at Divine Emperor Perfection level, Luo Feng's soul shuddered at the terrible aura without a doubt of it being at Divine Emperor Perfection level. It must be the leader of the Primordial Wild Hoof Clan. As a rare species in the vicinity of Yulan City, there should be only one at the level of Divine Emperor Perfection. Naturally, it would be the leader. The Primordial Wild Hoof at first glance is entirely black, but upon closer inspection, it faintly radiates a deep blue hue. Its huge body is covered with layers of scale armor, and on both sides of its head are sharply curved horns. Its eyes, full of lightning, looked at Luo Feng and Emperor Qing, causing a tremor in their hearts. Brother Luo Feng, Emperor Qing knew something bad was happening. You go hide first, I'll have to find a way to escape. Luo Feng quickly stowed Emperor Qing away as well as the black flying boat. Luo Feng had no thoughts of defeating the opponent. His intention was to escape. Divine Emperor Perfection level, and it's a member of the Primordial Wild Hoof Clan. Luo Feng knew this was the gravest threat he had faced since he arrived in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm. There are many races among the low-level Primordial Life, each with different talents. Frost Soul Watchers were jack of all trades but master of none. Blood Demon Elysi specialized in stealth and poison, but its capability in direct combat was average. Primordial Wild Hoof was different. Its racial talent was incredibly powerful. Among beings of the same level, it was considered an extremely strong existence. In terms of physical body, among the same level low-level primordial lives, it was undoubtedly one of the most terrifying. The three Hall Masters had once killed Divine Emperor Perfection level low-level primordial lives one-on-one. But on one hand all three Hall Masters possessed sufficiently powerful treasures, and on the other hand they had countered their opponents. If they encountered a Divine Emperor Perfection level primordial wild hoof, even the three Hall Masters would probably be helpless. You dare to hunt in my territory. A deep voice echoed across the vast expanse of the void as the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader coldly watched Luo Feng. You are a newly promoted Elder of Yulan City? Your avatar will not be making an escape. The words had hardly fallen. Boom. The surrounding vast void suddenly solidified into terrifying green lightning, which struck directly at Luo Feng. The lightning came too fast, leaving Luo Feng no chance to dodge. Bang! The lightning struck Luo Feng directly. In Luo Feng's body, the presence of the Undying Heart greatly enhanced the resilience and defensive capabilities of the Undying Blood Sea Body, giving it an undying quality. Now, having taken this hit from the fearsome lightning, Luo Feng was somewhat dazed, but his body managed to withstand it. The Undying Heart truly lives up to its name, so resilient. Luo Feng breathed a sigh of relief. Being able to withstand the lightning strike meant there was still a possibility to escape. Huh. The distant Primordial Wild Hoof Leader was slightly surprised, and then it made its move. Boom. With its movement, bathed in lightning, its terrifying figure spanned heaven and earth in an instant, ripping through the sky. Its mere aftershock caused billions of miles of the surrounding space to begin fracturing layer by layer, allowing a glimpse of the outermost blurry shadows of the secret patterns. Under a twisted and torn sky, Luo Feng tried his best to dodge, but the terrifying figure had already reached him. One of my teams has been completely wiped out, not a single one managed to escape, said one of the 9 Frost Soul Watchers with a terrifying aura. The strength of these cultivators is relatively strong this time. The homeland has been attacked and I have already reported it. I believe that leaders are already tracking them down. There is an enormous quantity of low-level primordial life. If it is just the outermost perimeter being attacked, they won't care too much because the outer range is too vast, and hunting down those cultivators would be too difficult. But an attack on the homeland, the low-level primordial life groups would quickly dispatch forces from all directions to hunt them down. These cultivators with their small numbers and weak strength. If it weren't for city sanctuaries protecting them, we would have devoured them all by now. They can hide within their cities, occasionally coming out to launch sneak attacks. These Frost Soul Watchers were quite discontent. In terms of overall strength, low-level primordial life are much stronger than cultivators. But one side has the protection of cities, where they can safely cultivate and draw sustenance from them to their heart's content. It will be comfortable once we breach another city. Then we can devour those cultivators to our heart's content. Yes, I heard that after the last attack on Beiyang City, our kin in the vicinity of Beiyang City had a feast on the cultivators that are rarely seen. There were several 100 million of them in the city. It's a pity that breaching a city is too difficult. The 9 Rivers Sacred Realm's 35 cities require merit to apply for construction, and the cities are exchanged for the tremendous city secret treasures using merit, along with joint control by Hall Masters and Elders, making them extremely secure. Even with their powerful strength, the low-level primordial life find it difficult to breach cities head-on. Only with internal and external collusion is there hope of breaching a city. Every breach of a city is a horrifying catastrophe for the city. Senior Yuan and the others established the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm as a place to temper the younger generation. They already made arrangements favoring cultivators. If even under these circumstances the cities of cultivators are breached, it would only mean the cultivators themselves are too incompetent. Huff. The 9 Frost Soul Watchers were casually chatting and at the same time flying at super high speed atop clouds, patrolling in all directions. Primordial Wild Hoof Leader, a late-stage Divine Emperor Blood Demon Elysi, and 15 middle-stage Divine Emperor Frost Soul Watchers have been killed in your territory. It is suspected that an elder has entered the homeland to start hunting. A message was conveyed. Understood. A terrifying thunder burst forth from the vast river, bathed in thunder and began to patrol its territory immediately. The elder hunting area is very close to the 9 rivers. Coming to hunt in my territory. The terrifying figure within the thunder traversed the void at incredible speed. The vast territory surrounding Yulan City is home to low-level primordial life of many species, among which the Primordial Wild Hoof clan is a species with fewer numbers but generally strong individuals. Within the territory surrounding Yulan City, there is only one of the Primordial Wild Hoof clan who has achieved Divine Emperor Perfection, who naturally is also the clan leader. Divine Emperor Perfection level, low-level Primordial Life are still very rare. For a species as numerous as the Frost Soul Watchers, in the vicinity of Yulan City, there may be several at the Divine Emperor Perfection level. But for the vast majority of species, there may be only one at the Divine Emperor Perfection level or perhaps none at all. The so-called Elder Hunting Area, within the homeland of low-level primordial life is divided into territories overseen by leaders. This is the greatest danger of elder hunting. After all, these low-level primordial life also possess high intelligence. They would not foolishly allow themselves to be hunted. To kill one in the homeland would trigger a pursuit. Boom. Too ferocious. Luo Feng desperately tried to dodge but he was still grazed by the massive frame of the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader. It was just a graze, and Luo Feng felt a terrifying force ravaging his entire body. His physical body, which had more than 1,000 times the perfect divine body energy reserve, and was fortified by the Undying Heart, had its defensive abilities soar dramatically. The secret treasure, Undying Heart, only multiplies power and other aspects by a few times. Even a more powerful half-primordial level secret treasure could achieve this level. But its greatest strength lies in the 2 words, undying. Combining the mysteries of life and destruction, its ability to preserve life is naturally extremely strong. Boom. Luo Feng was grazed and instantly sent flying backward. However, his body remained intact with no injuries. The ferociously charging Primordial Wild Hoof Leader, however, slightly turned its head, continuously keeping a firm gaze on Luo Feng. When it noticed that Luo Feng had withstood its graze, there was a flash of excitement in its eyes. Its hoof claws were as fast as lightning and stomped out fiercely. The hoof claw, infused with thunder, stomped out from up close. Luo Feng had no time to react and was struck by the hoof claw. The hoof claw was too massive. Luo Feng appeared far too small in comparison. Bang! The trampling hoof claw, more than 10 times more ferocious than the previous graze, had a terrifying force that shocked Luo Feng. His Undying Blood Sea Body could no longer withstand it, unable to maintain the physical form. With this trampling, Luo Feng could only burst open by going with the momentum, turning into an endless blood sea. Only by turning into a blood sea could he unload as much of the terrifying trampling force as possible. Even with the blessing of the Undying Heart, I can't withstand the trampling of the Primordial Wild Hoof. Luo Feng was shocked but it was within his expectations. This race was known as Primordial Wild Hoof Clan, because their trampling was their most dreadful move. With a physical body that is top tier within its level, the trampling of the Primordial Wild Hoof reached an unbelievable level of might. The trampling might of a late-stage Divine Emperor Primordial Wild Hoof can reach the threshold of the enlightened at Divine Emperor Perfection. Divine Emperor Perfection? Under such trampling might, the Undying Blood Sea Body would be forced to burst open, unable to maintain its physical body form. With LuoFeng's strength, also possessing the Undying Heart and Palm World, he should generally be able to preserve his life with relative ease, even when encountering a low-level primordial life at Divine Emperor Perfection. However, he encountered the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader. He actually withstood my trampling? The Primordial Wild Hoof Leader was somewhat surprised. In Yulan City, only 3 Hall Masters could stand up to it in a direct fight. Ordinary elders dare not resist it head-on, only trying to escape for their lives with various secret techniques. The vast, boundless endless blood sea, within which were the Undying Heart and Xuanqing Sky Annihilation map, both bolstering it, made the defense and resilience of the blood sea extremely strong. With the vastness and resilience of my Undying Blood Sea Body, one trampling consumed 2% of my energy reserve? Luo Feng was astonished. Whoosh! While still astonished, Luo Feng also took action. A furry claw suddenly extended from the blood sea without any warning, and when it extended, it was already beneath the abdomen of the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader. Rip! Luo Feng, understanding the principle of life and death, fully activated the lethal move of the innate secret treasure Palm World. Luo Feng didn't use it to suppress with a world, knowing it would be futile. What he utilized was the tearing and destructive power of the claw. The claw was exceedingly sharp. Fortified by the power of the Undying Blood Sea Body, and driving the secret patterns within the claw, it was Luo Feng's strongest strike. Luo Feng even believed that such a strike might pose a substantial threat to a half-primordial level powerhouse. This claw, suddenly extending from the blood sea, was too sudden and fast. The massive Primordial Wild Hoof Leader didn't even have the chance to dodge. or perhaps it simply disdained to avoid the move. Slash. Luo Feng felt his claw, with 5 knife-sharp fingertips, penetrate the shallow white scale armor of the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader's abdomen. According to the materials from some corpses in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, the scale armor of the Abyss Wild Hoof clan generally had hundreds of layers. SSS. Luo Feng's all-out effort with one claw managed to barely pierce and penetrate 2 layers of scale armor. It has layers and I only managed to pierce 2 despite going all out? At this moment Luo Feng finally understood what it meant for its physical body to be one of the top amongst those born as primordial life forms of the low-level primordial life clans. Suddenly taking this claw, the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader was somewhat surprised, its surface scale armor showing slight cracks. The formless thunder flowed, naturally restoring the cracked scale armor. Roar. The Primordial Wild Hoof Leader suddenly let out a roar. This roar. It was like thunder rumbling, the sound impacting in all directions, causing the endless blood sea to roll and shake, and even the surface of the blood sea was obliterated by the shockwaves. The roar also impacted Luo Feng's spiritual will. Of course, after reaching the early stage of Divine Emperor in the Life and Death Tao, Luo Feng's spiritual will naturally climb to Divine Emperor perfection level, although not at its extreme. But with such a level of spiritual will plus the Lai Yuan technique and the bolstering of the Undying Heart, it could still withstand the impact of this roar. Boom boom boom. As the roar echoed, the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader started to charge, and every hoof claw trampled fiercely upon the endless blood sea. Although the might of the trampling now was not as powerful as the originally charged hoof claw, now it was a continuous trampling, with about 50 to 60% of the previous force. But it was a relentless assault. Rumbling, this entire world trembled and shattered, with phantom secret patterns of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm's sealing chains appearing. Under the relentless trampling of the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader, the energy of Luo Feng's endless blood sea was swiftly depleting. In a few moments, 30% was consumed. Blood sea heaven and earth. Suddenly the entire blood sea unleashed its might, a blood-red haze shrouding heaven and earth. At this moment, it was hard to distinguish directions, as the world of blood had already started to transform into the Xuanqing sky. Trapped within the Xuanqing sky, the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader could not see anything beyond it. Quick escape. The moment Luo Feng utilized a part of the blood sea to evolve into the Xuanqing sky and trap the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader, he hesitated not, immediately splitting into 3 avatars. Each of the 3 avatars employed secret techniques, their speed skyrocketing to the ultimate limit, fleeing in different directions. Umph. The Primordial Wild Hoof Leader let out a cold snort, its form suddenly expanding massively, almost becoming half the size of the entire Xuanqing sky. Its gigantic head with 2 horn-like blades began to move. Ripping sound. Everything was being cut by the 2 blade-like horns. Even the Xuanqing sky was being sliced apart by this terrifying force. The Xuanqing sky shattered. The vision of the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader penetrated the void, instantly locking onto the 3 escaping avatars. Escape. The Primordial Wild Hoof Leader raged uncontrollably. Boom boom boom. 3 immensely powerful bolts of thunder coalesced in the heavens and earth, each bolt of thunder homing in on the 3 avatars of Luo Feng who had fled to extreme distances. The avatars were struck by the sudden lightning, 2 of them unable to withstand, directly obliterated. Only 1 avatar survived the thunder and escaped even faster. Swoosh. That soul-escaping avatar suddenly commandeered a flying boat, fleeing at an even more rapid pace. The Primordial Wild Hoof Leader opened its mouth wide, spewing out thunder plasma, the thunder rampaging in all directions, annihilating the surrounding blood sea that had trapped it beneath its might. This blood sea accounted for perhaps 1/10 of Luo Feng's energy reserve. Under the relentless, powerful strike of the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader, it too was completely annihilated. Beneath the thunder, the blood sea ceased to exist. Leave a weaker avatar behind. The Primordial Wild Hoof Leader burst forth fiercely, rapidly pursuing the avatar that was commandeering the flying boat. Luo Feng swiftly fled, commandeering the flying boat. However, the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader locked onto his aura from afar and relentlessly pursued. The Primordial Wild Hoof Leader was too fast, transforming into thunder, tracing its route and caught up entirely in just over 10 breaths' time. Can't escape. Luo Feng, commanding the flying boat, watched the scene unfold before him. Die. The hoof of the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader already shrouded him. It's over. Luo Feng watched powerlessly at this scene. At the site where the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader and Luo Feng had just begun their battle, the chaotic world gradually returned to calm, with the energies between heaven and earth also slowly recovering. Suddenly, an endless stream of energy between heaven and earth abruptly converged, transforming into the form of a human male, none other than Luo Feng. Luo Feng, with the aid of the secret treasure Undying Heart, could enter the state of between life and death. The Undying Heart, encapsulating the mysteries of both life and destruction, possessed extremely strong life-saving capabilities. Like those proficient in the life path, even if blasted into nothingness, they could still spiritually regenerate from oblivion, partially restoring their life form. Utilizing the Undying Heart, when Luo Feng was attacked into nothingness, he seamlessly transformed a greater part of the blood sea into nothingness, merging the energy into the world. He could thus maintain this state for a short duration. After a period he would restore his life form. maintaining the state of neither life nor death, which Luo Feng termed between life and death. In this state, his own energy truly transformed into nothingness, only his spiritual will merging with the world. This is the weakness. If the enemy was strong enough to sense Luo Feng's spiritual will, they would not be deceived. Luo Feng's spiritual will, with the aid of the Undying Heart, perfectly concealed all signs of life, remaining in a state of neither life nor death, enduring. This lasted for 10 breaths' time. Afterwards he would revive once more from nothingness into a life form. Finally deceived that Primordial Wild Hoof Leader. Luo Feng immediately released the Void Netherworld pupil ship, commandeered the ship, and vanished into the crevices of the void in an instant, disappearing without a trace with astounding speed. The speed of the Void Netherworld pupil ship was far faster than the other avatar that controlled the water drop flying boat. Ripping sound. As the avatar was completely pulverized by the hoof claw, the Primordial Wild Hoof Leader looked at the remaining water drop flying boat with confusion, lightly nudged it, carefully examining the interior of the flying boat. The inside of the flying boat was also empty, devoid of treasures. Just a divine Emperor late-stage flying boat and no other treasures? Not even the corpse of a low-level primordial life slain. The Primordial Wild Hoof Leader realized at this moment, he still escaped. These cultivators, too cunning. None of the elders it met could withstand a few of its blows head-on, but with all manner of bizarre secret techniques and escapes, some could still save their lives. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.